Hello, I'm Council Member at Large Derek Green. I want to welcome you to our virtual edition of Public Comment. For the past 7 months, we've all been grappling with the global pandemic that COVID has brought to us. It's impacted us in every facet of our lives. In City Council, we've been meeting virtually using Microsoft Teams. But in addition to how it's impacted us at an individual level, COVID has really impacted businesses in our city, especially small businesses on our neighborhood commercial corridors and throughout the entire city. To learn how various businesses and the communities have been dealing with this global pandemic, we'll be joined by Job Itzkowitz. He's the Executive Director of the Old City District, and learn what he and other business districts have been doing by coming together to work collectively to help small businesses all around the city of Philadelphia. So we'll be back in a few moments with Job Itzkowitz, and we'll see you soon with more Public Comment.
Did you know that right now the country is facing a severe blood and plasma shortage? The coronavirus has forced blood drives to cancel in unprecedented numbers, and donations at plasma collection centers have declined significantly. But there's something you can do to help ease this crisis, and it's very simple. Donate blood or plasma. Hi, I'm Eric Hargan, Deputy Secretary at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and a recent blood donor. And here are 5 things you need to know about donating blood during the coronavirus outbreak. 1. Donating blood is safe. Our scientific experts tell us that COVID-19 is a respiratory illness and that it is not blood-borne. And donation centers are taking extra precautions based on CDC guidelines, including social distancing, to ensure the good health of those who donate. 2. Donating blood saves lives. Every 2 seconds, a patient needs a blood transfusion. Coronavirus patients don't typically need blood, but patients at hospitals who've experienced events such as car accidents or who need life-saving cancer treatments still do. The donation you make can potentially save up to 3 lives. 3. You must check your eligibility. Most people can donate if they are healthy and have not been sick recently, and you can check your eligibility on the donation center's website before you go. If you still have questions after checking the website, you can call the donation center to ask any additional questions. 4. Blood centers are open. Right now, blood and plasma donation centers remain open, but it's always a good idea to book your appointment ahead of time. This will also help maintain social distancing. 5. It's easy to find a donation center. Simply search "Find a blood donation center near me" to see the options close to you.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services at taxpayer expense.
Welcome back to this virtual edition of Public Comment. Joining us now is Job Itzkowitz. He is Executive Director of the Old City District. Job, thank you for joining us in Public Comment.
Thanks for having me, Council Member.
So how are you dealing with COVID? I know your organization is a improvement district, and you help to support businesses in this part of the city. And because you're known as a historical area for shopping and retail, COVID has been such a major challenge for the city. And how have your members dealt with this global pandemic?
Well, thanks for asking me that. As a business improvement district, Old City District's first goal, like most business improvement districts, is to keep the neighborhood clean and safe. So when the outbreak happened, the first question we had was, are our street cleaners essential workers? And we relied on guidance from the city regarding sanitation workers and determined that from the beginning, we were able to continue to keep the streets clean. Those are basic level services that bids need to provide. And fortunately, we were able to continue doing that. When the shutdown happened, there wasn't much to be done in terms of drawing people to the neighborhood. But what we did try to do was promote our businesses online as much as possible. So we started with an Old City online promotion that shared information not only about the restaurants that were able to do takeout, but also our retailers, many of whom were doing curbside pickup. And at a certain point, when people were allowed to come back to our businesses, we started pushing that message as well. And so while, yes, there was a significant drop off in foot traffic in April compared to April 2019, we've slowly seen that increase. So our April foot traffic was about 20% of what it was the prior year. So a loss of 80% of foot traffic. And now as of September, October, we're about 65% of where we were in 2020. So there's been a slow increase. Old City has some other challenges though as well. We have a daily residential population of 5,000, but we also rely heavily on visitor and tourist attractions. So if Independence Hall is closed or the Liberty Bell is closed, that draws about 12,000 visitors per day. And with travel restrictions in place, it's really important for Philadelphians, people in the region, to come support these historic attractions.
So, your area, Old City, has been, really impacted in two major ways. One, because of the almost closing of the hospitality industry, people not being able to travel and visit, places like the historical part of our city and the Liberty Bell, and that really draws a lot of people to Old City, but also retail and restaurants. And I know from the work that you've been doing as the head of the Old City District, you've been really leading and pushing the administration to allow outdoor dining to really help the restaurants in Old City District that also helps other parts of the city. So can you talk a little bit about the work you've been doing on, having the open areas, open streets to allow outdoor dining?
Yeah, absolutely. We realized early on when Governor Wolf was instituting shutdowns that at a certain point, folks would be allowed back into restaurants, but at a limited capacity. And we also realized that with restaurants operating at such thin margins already, we would need to find ways to increase that capacity in a safe way outdoors. So Old City District is one of 15 business improvement districts in Philadelphia. The 15 of us got together, casually formed the Philadelphia Bid Alliance, and went to work on this singular issue for the moment. And we wanted to think about how can we get as many seats and tables outside in a safe area in support of these restaurants. We took a look at 4 options. The first is the city of Philadelphia has historically had very restrictive rules on who can put tables and chairs out in front of a restaurant. In Center City and in Old City, it's a little bit easier, but in many parts of the city, it requires legislation. And that legislation was going to be difficult to come by in the middle of the summer with city council dealing with other issues. So we wanted to make it just easy to put tables and chairs in front of your restaurant by right. The second part of that is if you have a restaurant next door to a retailer, maybe that retailer isn't open in the evening. Maybe that retailer wants to support the restaurant and the restaurant says, hey, can we put tables and chairs in front of your space when you're closed? Previously, that wasn't allowed under the code. And so we advocated for allowing you to extend to your neighbor's premises. The more challenging part had to do with parking spaces. Parking lanes are really an easy way to find additional seating. And collectively, we advocated for restaurants being allowed to use the parking lanes adjacent to their buildings, building off of the city's pre-existing parklet rules, but allowing customer use only for that seating area. And the fourth thing we advocated for was full street closures. And we've seen an increasing number of those. In Old City, we have them every weekend from Friday through Sunday on 2nd Street between Market and Chestnut Street. We're looking forward to how to deal with that in the winter, but it's been going since mid-July and has been really a lifeline to our restaurants. So this was both a result of the administration's action, but also City Council in moving forward the legislation that lined up with the emergency order that allowed all these changes to take place.
Job, I want to thank you for the work you're doing as the head of the Old City District. It's not only helping the community that you represent, but helping neighborhoods all around the city. I know COVID has been really challenging for so many businesses and restaurants, retail establishments. But the fact that this global pandemic, which has also been an economic crisis, has enabled the various business improvement districts to come together as an alliance, which is going to be something that's going to really strengthen the businesses, not only in the Old City, but also businesses around the city of Philadelphia. And so this has been a challenge, but this is one of the bright spots coming out of COVID, that the various organizations could come together collectively to help each other get through this pandemic. And I think that'll provide better opportunities to work together collectively as we move forward into the future, as we get to brighter days to come. So I want to thank you, Job, for your work. I want to thank you for coming to public comment, and we'll be back with more public comment after this break.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
Did you know that the Free Library's robust collection of digital resources can be accessed from anywhere with your library card? Enjoy ebooks, audiobooks, movies, TV, magazines, homework help, online language courses and professional development workshops, and much more, all from the comfort of your home. Visit freelibrary.org and select Databases or Digital Media to get started now. All you need is your library card and PIN number. Find us online. We're here for you.
I want to thank our guest, Job Itzkowitz, Executive Director of the Old City District. I want to thank him for his advocacy and the work he and other leaders of business improvement districts are doing around our city to help small businesses that have been devastated by this global pandemic. The things he's been pushing for are things I've been hearing in the committee hearing that I held this summer in the Finance Committee that I chair, about the issues small businesses are grappling with as we as a city try to come out of and recover from this global pandemic. City Council has been very busy, not only in hearings we've had over the summer, as well as what we've been doing this fall, debating and discussing issues like the Special Committee on Gun Violence, really working to try to figure out how do we reduce the gun violence in our city, or from the public health hearing that I held this summer as well, looking at why so many African American and Latin constituents in our city have been so impacted by COVID-19, and talking with Dr. Ayla Stanford regarding the work that she started through the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium. And also the City Council investigation and overview of the aftermath of what happened in Philadelphia in response to the tragic killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. So COVID-19 has been a challenge for so many people in our city. We've had civil unrest in our city. We've had a whole host of issues and concerns. But we're going to make it through this pandemic, and we'll do it by continuing to do what we've been doing the past 7 months, making sure that we're washing our hands, we're engaging in physical distancing, and wearing our masks, especially when we're outside. So this has been a challenge, but I know we as a city will get through this challenge together. I want to thank you for joining me for another edition of Public Comment, and we'll be back with more public comment in 2021. Be safe and be well.